Episode 4 of Season 2. Integration. Where the ERP ends and the wiring to every other system begins. Six pieces to this one. Why the ERP doesn't do everything. The landscape around it. Batch versus real-time. Middleware. Who owns which data? And then why integration quietly becomes most of the project. First, a misunderstanding that beginners tend to carry around. The idea that once a company installs an ERP, the ERP becomes the system and everything else gets pulled inside it. That isn't how it works in practice. An ERP is an extraordinarily good system of record. It's where the authoritative ledger lives. But most of what happens day to day lives outside that backbone. Sales teams live in a CRM because it's built for pipelines, not invoices. Warehouse operators use specialist software because it's optimized for picking and slotting. The ERP is the trunk of the tree. A lot of the leaves live on branches that bolt into it. So let's draw the landscape. In a typical mid to large enterprise running any mainstream ERP, you'll find 15 or 20 other applications around it. A CRM like Salesforce for the conversation side. Leads, opportunities, quotes. A WMS like Manhattan for the physical warehouse. Picking waves, slotting, dock management. A BI warehouse, like Snowflake or BigQuery, pulling every table for management reporting. E-commerce platforms where external customers place orders that the ERP never sees until they're paid for. A payroll or HCM SaaS for the people side. Connections to banks, tax authorities, e-invoicing portals. The oldest pattern, and still the most common by volume, is batch. Once a night. Sometimes once an hour. One system produces a file, the other system consumes it. A CSV of yesterday's invoices drops into an SFTP folder for the data warehouse. A fixed-width payment file is generated for the bank. Batch is attractive because it's simple. No permanent connection, easy reconciliation. The cost is latency, up to a full day behind. Fine for reports, but not for a checkout page. The modern alternative is real-time integration. Each system exposes an API, and other systems read or write as things happen. Two flavors. Request-response APIs are like a phone call. System A asks System B a question, waits for the answer, then continues. Event-driven integration is more like a broadcast. The ERP emits an event. Invoice posted, stock updated, and any system that cares subscribes. Event-driven scales better. The ERP doesn't need to know who's listening. Real-time is more powerful, but more fragile. Most of the engineering effort is in handling failure gracefully. In theory, every system could call every other system directly. 10 systems with everyone-to-everyone connections is 45 separate integrations to build, test, and maintain. Past a certain size, most organizations introduce middleware to tame the tangle. Middleware sits between the applications and acts as a translator and traffic controller. A message queue like Kafka, an integration platform like Boomi or MuleSoft, an older enterprise service bus. Systems stop talking to each other directly. They talk to the middleware, and the middleware handles the shape-shifting. Introduce a second system, and you immediately have a data governance problem. If a customer's address exists in both the CRM and the ERP, and a sales representative updates it in the CRM, what happens in the ERP? This is the system of record question. Every integration project has to answer it for every shared field. The ERP is authoritative for financial postings, the CRM for customer conversations, the WMS for real-time stock. The rule: one owner writes, everyone else reads. There's a saying in enterprise software: the ERP implementation is where the money is, but the integrations are where the project is. On a typical enterprise ERP program, the integration track consumes a third of the total budget, sometimes more. It generates a disproportionate share of the risk because integrations span team boundaries, vendor boundaries, and time zones. And they keep consuming budget after go live. Every new app is another integration. Every upgrade retests the ones you already have. For anyone new, it's tempting to think of the ERP as the system and everything else as peripheral. The accurate picture is a graph. The ERP is one large node, and the edges, the integrations, are as important as the node. When you see an ERP screen in a demo, ask what feeds it and what reads from it. That answer is almost always more interesting than the screen. Quick recap. The ERP is the trunk of the tree, not the whole tree. Two families of integration. Batch is cheap but stale. Real-time is live but fragile. Middleware collapses a mesh of point-to-point links into a hub. One owner per shared field. That's the system of record rule. And integration is most of the project. Budget it up front. That's episode 4 of season 2. Episode 5 changes scale. 10 subsidiaries, 7 countries, many currencies, many tax regimes. Multi-entity, multi-country. The thing that makes global finance teams gray. See you there.